would you like to recommend?
Natalie Grishakova.
What is the biggest challenge in talent that Danone is facing globally right now?
Danone ambition to double the growth by 2030.
What makes high performance stay and grow at Danone?
We are very human-centric culture. We giving a lot of trust and autonomy to our people.
What leadership behaviors are most critical for the future of work?
I'm all the time thinking about music.
Music.
Yes,
Wow.
we see another disruption. Musician. You need to improvise and you need to make sure that you fit the team for any context or any mission.
Do you think that employees' expectations they have changed significantly?
That's moving a bit to baseline.
Okay.
Really looking for an extra stuff. We assume that workforce would like to be more on the psychological contract, on the safety, on the development part, but not. Especially after COVID or now with AI disruption, some people would like to go to purely transactional relations.
AI and automation will reshape this psychological contract.
Employability and continuous learning coming a part of economic exchange. I give you time, in return you give me not only salary, but you make sure I'm staying updated.
What skills will become most valuable in the next decade?
I would bet on the human skills.
Which ones? Hello, Natalie. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Joao, and thank you for having me today.
I would like to start our conversation today by bringing some context for those that don't know you yet. You've been working at Danone in the last 10 years in the talent area, but recently you made a career move within HR, and you're also a certified coach. And as we've seen in the beginning of the video, you've been recommended by another guest previously. So it's really fun for me to have you here finally. Is this a good introduction, Natalie, or did I forget anything?
No, it's complete, perfect.
We already know that Danone is transforming itself, many changes happening with all the AI, the Industry 5.0. We've heard that from previous videos. What is the biggest challenge in talent that Danone is facing globally right now?
You are right. We, as any other company, facing a lot of disruption. But if we take into account the non-ambition to double the growth by 2030, it's another challenge that we are putting. Mm-hmm. And I would say that for us, the success will depend upon the scale and the skills. So if I have to reduce to few challenges, it would be first, move to skills-based organization, which we already started to do. Second one, to rethink organization and positions to make a full integration or the possible integration between human and digital workforce.
Okay.
While staying truly Danone, meaning human-centric and social responsible employee.
What makes high performance stay and grow at Danone?
Honestly, I don't like the word high performance. I prefer to tell is that as a high impact employees because they typically impact the performance and they leave a legacy. It's the people who becoming legends, right? At Danone, the high performance people are those people who truly stick to our mission and values. The people who can embrace ambiguity, can embrace different challenges. The people who has very strong learning agility and also organizational savvy. So they know how to navigate complex matrix organization. What makes them stay? We are very human-centric culture and we giving a lot of trust and autonomy to our people. I'm not saying that you will come and you will do whatever you want to realize, but if the idea makes the business sense, we see a lot of cases when person can do it. That's why I'm saying that high impact employees really leave the legacy. And of course, we put a lot of efforts to develop those people, to make them happy at work, but also fulfill the sense of development.
What kind of mechanisms does Danone have in place to identify and develop these high potential talent or high impactful talent, as you mentioned?
We do have our Danone model to identify high potential employees. And by the way, we truly believe, and I as a talent manager with a a lot of experience believes that it can be developed and it can be changed. But coming back to our model, so the high potential model is based upon the prediction of the future success.
Okay.
And it's based upon the ability to manage complexity. It's based upon ability to grow, the learning agility, and it's based upon motivation and performance, sustainable performance. So taking that into account, every year we have a process like talent review, like succession planning. So it helps us identify future potential, current potential, future leaders. And then we do an intentional effort to develop them through the different tools that we have in the company. Starting with leadership program, we have leadership program for every aspect of your career when you're moving to director role, executive role, first-time leader, and etc. We have also a coaching, mentoring in place. And we have also support on the job development if person needs to develop on the job. I think what we started to do, at least in my 10 years in Danone, and what we still can do better is to be a bit bold in the moves in the career of those high impactful employees.
How come? How bold?
Well, Danone has a very high standards. We sometimes saying the person is ready, but not yet ready. And we know that people are best developed when they're doing actually, when they're performing, when they're demonstrating the skill. So by meaning bold, I would say that we taking the risks and put more efforts on developing person on the go with the support.
Okay.
As I said, in my 10 years, I see the change that we are doing it, but potentially we need to be a bit bolder if we want to grow as we want to grow twice by 2030.
So that means that if there is uncertainty of the person being capable or not, the company and the person agrees to at least try.
It's not about capability because we agree that person is capable, right? We don't want to set the person for the failure. We want to set the person for success. And as I said, complexity management or learning agility, our motivation are very good predictors of the future success. It's more about to say, yes, we know that you're 80% ready or 70% ready, and we are ready to invest in it and give the try or support you.
And people also accept, even if they feel like they have only those 80%, they also embrace the challenge.
I would say that it depends, but typically, yes, people will accept. I don't want to go to the topic of difference of female and male career. And inclusion and diversity is a huge topic in Danone, which we're also doing the conscious step to develop females, especially in operations. However, yes, in general, it will also be a factor of the gender, but people embrace. People are very, very grateful that you're ready to invest and capitalize their skills.
How do you see the talent role evolving over the next decade?
Honestly, Joao, thank you for asking it because it's my favorite topic to think how we will evolve as a talent management.
Mm-hmm.
And I already see a lot of changes. When I started first my career in talent acquisition long years ago, talent management was just a process-based activities. So we did talent reviews, we did talent acquisition, and etc. Mm-hmm. Then we slightly moved to earn the strategic place in HR leadership team. And now I think that talent becoming a real business driver. Talent role evolving will continue to evolve as a business driver because we now playing the key roles already in innovation, in business performance, in long-term organizational stability and sustainability. Second, which we will need to play, is to become workforce strategist, meaning What does it mean workforce for us? How we deal with human? How we deal with digital workforce that's coming? How we put them together? So how we create this landscape for talent to continue to be high impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Third one is talent is moving to become the architect of employee experience from the time we contact each other to the time you leave the company for another opportunity, so you stay in the company until retirement. So that's to say another domain. And the last but not the least, I think that also talent can create more social value for employee and social value for society through managing the life cycle of the talent.
What leadership behaviors are most critical for the future of work?
Very interesting topic. Not that I have a complete answer for that.
I think no one has, right? So it will be your view.
When I'm thinking about leadership behaviors in the past, in the future, and in the present, I'm all the time thinking about music.
Music.
Yes,
Wow.
leader was technician and musician who can play a few instruments, who can teach other, who can guide. Then the role has changed and evolved to be conductor. And the huge industry came to solve this role. By that I mean that you have the team, you need to be sure that the team goes to one purpose, they perform the symphony, and you take care of all the stars that play in your orchestra. Now we see another disruption for the leadership patterns. And I would call it, just musician, because you're not only setting the context, you're giving the clarity of what you would like to play, but you need to improvise and you need to make sure that you fit the team for any context or any mission, whatever scene is set. And why I have this analogy, because also currently leadership needs to demonstrate all the skills that they're having in a certain moment. Maybe not all, but a lot of skills. It's you remember the famous theory of situational leadership. When you have tac, you decide what you do with your team member. Now it's changing because you have to play multiple roles, and it's not so black and white. So for me, this is a change. And if I'm applying it to Danone, we are saying that the future leader become ambidextrous, or the future leader can manage the controversy by uniting them. So being demanding and caring, being decisive and curious, being disciplined and creative. So that's the future we see for the leaders in Danone.
So we've been talking about leaders, but what about employees or the employee side? Do you think that employees' expectation from the employers, they have changed significantly in recent years? And if so, how?
For sure, they change and they continue to evolve as we are speaking, right? And I think that what we are facing is the pace of this change is really increased. If I'm taking before COVID time, a lot of people will refer to that, professional growth, learning, or what we spoke previously, purpose of the company was a kind of extras that all employee managers, employee brand managers would try to embrace in the company. So now we see that that's moving a bit to baseline.
Okay.
And the people really looking for an extra stuff. They would like to have a real flexibility from the company, especially after COVID, to decide when I work and how much I work. I mean, not in the hours, but in the flexibility during the day. I think that also the topic of fairness and transparency also is shifting a lot. I would like to know what are the future strategies, what are the payment in the company. And we see also market is moving to full transparency, for example, in compensations.
Yes, new laws.
People asking for personalized experience. We were talking previously with you about changing role of the talent, and that's exactly. People would like to fit career to their step. They would like to fit organization a bit to their step. They would like to have more personalized path in the company. The last thing for me, which is, we can look at a work in the company as a psychological contract or economic exchange, right? Psychological contract is always explicit, while economic exchange should be implicit. We assume that workforce would like to be more on the psychological contract, on the safety, on the development part, and etc., but not, especially after COVID or now with AI disruption. Some people would like to go to purely transactional relations. As organization and talent, we are ready to do it with and how. And even if we do it, those employees who comes to us to work only for some period of time, which is okay also, will ask us employers to secure their future employability, meaning that we still train and give them the right skills. So I think that it's also a huge shift, because now for me, company sometimes taking some functions of other institutions. Like government typically takes care of employability. I'm exaggerating a bit, but that's the essence. And now employees are asking us to be more involved in their lives.
Interesting. That's interesting. Well, I didn't want to interrupt you, Natalie, but you said so many things. But getting back to the psychological contract, for me, that's a term that I've visited 20 years ago in my university. So I may not be the best person to talk about it, but I still remember at least that psychological contract was a range. You could either have it on the transactional side, as you mentioned, or the transformational side, which was, instead of looking for only those transactions, more to what am I gaining from a career perspective, from a fulfillment perspective, from a belonging perspective, from a safety perspective, etc. And then there are some people that position themselves in between, right? But from what you're sharing, seems like indeed that concept, as I remember, doesn't fit that much on the reality that you described, which makes me think that our companies, or at least is Danone, willing to create that unique experience for everyone based on the expectations they have, and in which moment of the employee life those questions come up, right?
We assume that workforce would like to be more on the psychological contract, on the safety, on the development part, and etc., but not, especially after COVID or now with AI disruption. Some people would like to go to purely transactional relations. Think it's a combination. It's not black and white.
It's never black and white.
It's never black and white. Let's make it interesting. I see, again, if I'm taking my experience working with talent for many years, I see the obvious change in talent's behaviors. Again, I'm averaging a lot for the sake of simplicity. What do I mean? We already discussed that some things become non-negotiable, which was before that, which was nice to have extras, like learning. People were not coming, 20 years ago, 25, and saying, okay, this is a salary, and by the way, what about learning how I can develop myself? Now, even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was already the question, how we will develop myself, right? What I see more is that indeed people try to negotiate from the beginning the good conditions, which is, by the way, can be attributed to this trust-based layer of psychological contract or to the transactional one, but they're asking for flexibility from the beginning. So, for example, I would like to work 4 days per week, or I would like to work 20% less, or I would like to be located in Paris, or I would like to be located in London. So people are made this explicit from the beginning, and then the company can adopt or not to adopt to it.
What is the standard position in those examples? Does the company take it to consideration internally, or just say, hey, the position was advertised in Paris, so this is a Paris position?
The location, it's really a bit tough question, because it's not black and white. It's not only what we would like to put or make sense for us as a company, but it's also a complex thing of social negotiation, tax, and finance. So I will park it.
The working schedule, for example, or working hours.
Yes, if it makes sense, again, team leader looks at the team composition, what he can afford or she can afford, right? So if it makes sense, if it can be done, yes, why not? Also, people can take sabbatical to do their own project or to just to rest, right? And we as a company, we're quite flexible to it.
Oh, interesting. Right? It seems like the bargaining power is shifting a bit from company to employees, right? When they demand these changes.
Yes, we can call it bargaining power, and indeed it would be in the case of really rare skills or exceptional talents. But it's also for me about being more explicit. So few years ago, a lot of years ago, typical employee can't be so explicit, can't be so demanding. It was like, okay, I would like to go to Danone, I would like to enter the company. Now employees, by the way, are more bold, more explicit. And for me, it's also the future, how it develops the relations between employee and employer. We create more forums to discuss it and to say what we can do like employees and what we can't.
If there's no match, friends like ever, or just depart parts, right? The employee will just search for something that fits better. And that's like...
Exactly. And that's connect to the constant employability part. Employee asks us to keep him or her updated to the market, relevant to the market. And I think it's a fair demand.
How do you think that AI and automation will reshape this psychological contract that we've been talking about in the future of workplace, especially in a place like Danone, where I've learned the term Industry 5.0 from Danone. So does it change in any way the psychological contract?
Yes, and I think it's changing in the sense that we already discussed the employability and continuous learning, that becoming a part of economic exchange. So I give you time. In return, you give me not only salary, but you make sure I'm staying updated. So I think it's the biggest change. Companies need to make sure, like we do with Industry 5.0, with another initiatives, that we invest in it, in this constant upskilling, reskilling, and etc. What is interesting for me in this particular topic, how AI is changing, and I would not go to all prediction, not the best person for it, but the two questions I'm putting myself. How do we redefine human productivity right now? Because previously, I don't know, to create a presentation takes me 1 hour, now it takes me 15 minutes. What do I do with this extra time? Do I invest in more meaningful work, more strategic work? Do I invest in myself? So I think that we didn't redefine this concept of human and digital workforce productivity. So this something that is already coming as a change, but we are not, let's say, ready, but we are just coming to it. And another thing that putting to myself as a question, we talked about the evolution of the leadership and leadership skills. AI is raising the bar for leaders as well. How I'm building flexible, skills-based team that can reconfigure quickly and adopt new challenge or new technology or whatever uncertainty is coming. So I think that the disruption on the people, organization, structure is much more deeper than even we know right now.
When you say people are looking for Danone to provide employability regarding AI introduction, are we talking about learning how to use AI and thus having more employability, or because AI is coming and there's no room for everyone after AI, please provide me employability because if I go to the market, I need to find another position? What is employability then?
Both. You need to stay relevant to the market. That's why you would like to have experience and you would like to gain skills, right? And it's also to make sure that in the future I will be updated and I will find the job in the market. So I think it's both. Coming back to the social impact of the employer, that's a good example how we can prepare people. And everybody giving the projection how much jobs will disappear. World Economic Forum giving 80 plus millions of jobs that will disappear, 60 plus that will be created. But in reality, we see that 20-25% of the jobs are now modified due to AI. That's why I'm thinking that we need to explore this concept more. We need to be prepared more as an employer, also to answer what does it mean long-term employability for us in the future.
What skills will become most valuable then in the next decade for you?
It's my pure view again, but I would bet on the human skills.
Which ones specifically?
But yeah, exactly. But the human skills, what do I mean? So we talked about the learning agility a bit, or curiosity. That's a basis for learning agility. So staying curious, staying learning all the time. Critical thinking. I think that's one skill. If I can teach my 8 years old son as a mother one skill, it would be critical thinking, which will help us to have human judgment on any technology, on any output that AI is giving for us currently. We, with human judgment and critical thinking, we will not delegate all the decisions, all the work, all our cognitive work and cognitive capacity to AI. So I think it's super important. And the fourth one, I think that we also need to be prepared to collaborate in a new world. Not only how we collaborate between the humans, but how we collaborate with the digital in an ecological and, again, safe way.
Everyone that comes into the show, I like to ask for a recommendation for the next potential guest, someone with a good or interesting profile, story, project. Who would you like to recommend?
I would like to recommend my ex-boss, Rudolf Razek, who is a good example of following his mission and creating another value for himself and for society.
Challenge accepted. I hope that one day we have the chance to meet in person in some event or something that happens either in France, Portugal, or somewhere else. And thank you for everything that you shared today with us.
Thank you a lot for having me. It was very interesting, thoughtful talk.